know so well. Oh, horror, fantasy, the stories we tell. Sci-fi dreams where the stars collapse. Comic books stacked high in gaps. Mike and Tom, they light the flame. The first, the last, the Nerdom name. Voices sharp like the edge of time. Diving deep in a world sublime.
Welcome back to the First, the Last, the Nerdom, the podcast where we are the law, at least when it comes to nerd culture. This week, we're closing out Cyberpunk Movie Month with a bang. A bloody, bullet-riddled, slow-motion finale as we dive into the 2012 dystopian comic book adaptation, Dredd. Directed by Pete Travis and based on the legendary 2000 AD comic, Dredd takes us deep into the heart of Megacity 1, a sprawling and violent urban wasteland where justice is brutal, swift, and delivered by judges. Carl Urban steps behind the helmet as Judge Dredd himself. No smiling, no small talk, just grit, growl, and the lawgiver pistol. We'll be talking about the film's sleek, stripped-down storytelling, its jaw-dropping slow-motion visuals, and how Dredd nails the perfect cyberpunk blend of high-tech decay, societal collapse, and authoritarian control. It's a future where the only thing scarier than the criminals is the justice system. Underrated at release, now a full-on cult favorite, Dredd has earned its place as one of the leanest, meanest cyberpunk action films of the 21st century. And let's not forget Lena Headey's terrifying turn as Mama, a villain as cold and cracked as the city she rules. So lock your doors, load your lawgiver, prepare for judgment, because we're going full helmet. No compromise, no surrender. This is Dredd, and this is the first, the last, the Nerdom. There we go.
We are the law.
Third time's the charm.
Yep. I think if we didn't get it this time, we'd be sent to the ISO cubes or whatever.
Yeah, and shout out to a friend of the show, Raleigh, for letting me know that the audio was fucked, and I had to restart it for the third time this charm. So thank you for being patient, audience. We thank you very much for doing that, and Tom as well. You are always patient with these things that we go through, but nevertheless, I want to pay the bills here. So let's get going, and we can get into the main event. As always, this is the movie we're covering, but we are the first, the last, the Nerdom. Home base on YouTube. You can always find us. You can see we're live there.
We're finishing up a very successful month with Cyberpunk.
Yes. And our normal is like 20 to 40 maybe, but we've been going above and beyond that. And I think some of it is because thanks to you jumping on and doing some of the shorts, at least a couple that netted us a few subscribers. So if you're a new subscriber, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you come over from the shorts, I won't talk about it now, but at the end, I know I didn't post last week. There was some issues, but I'll talk about that at the end of the show and maybe the future of our shorts.
Absolutely. In the meantime,
so stay tuned.
If you could walk us through the social medias.
Yep. I'm on FirstLastNerdom on Reddit, and I find the various subreddits that'll have us and kind of promote our stuff. So if you come over from there, hello, and if you after watching our show, if you like it, give us a like or a subscribe, thumbs up or down, depending on how you react to us. That's cool. And then I'm also on X. Try to promote our stuff, and then I also whatever tickles my fancy. Nothing too serious. My last post was I had a little collab with the Clown and Gizmo. We were hanging out, took a picture of them together. Told Art not to feed him after midnight, so I'm sure that'll go well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and yeah, I promote if I find a song that I fancy. I'm into metal, so I promoted a black metal song I've been digging. So yeah, check us out there.
Awesome. Yeah, I too am also on X. at ApeIt_Ink. And look out for Tom and I's communication here, because we're a few days away from Superman. I'm in blackout mode because I'm really looking forward to seeing it and making up my own mind. No thanks to the chattering class, and the internet will ruin anything that you love. So I'm trying to avoid that. But all joking aside, I also co-host on this little thing Monday through Friday, America's Talk Show, where we follow the immediate two-way show, tied-in show. This is more of a fan-led thing, and you're more than welcome to join us. Anyone can join. Also stepping in on a new venture, a step into Cafe Americana with Professor Kenny and Andre Dobrinski. I butchered his name, so please don't shoot me, Andre. Where we're doing a Sunday morning thing where we do it, and doing it and we're doing it right, the way we want to, and more importantly, with help from people like you. Although maybe not the nerd class, but definitely a different kind of nerd. But with that, I also do a long form publication, ApeIt.Ink. I really need to get on that and do some more reviewing, and writing. But anyway, on to the main event here. Don't want to belabor it too long, but as I said before, and the other two takes that I attempted to start the show and up to this point, this is one that you and I had both been looking forward to doing, I believe. I think it's safe to say we're both fans of comic books, especially more gritty, realistic kind of anti-hero, and you can certainly fall into that. I know I learned about Judge Dredd way a long time ago, not when it first came out, but years later, late to the game a little bit. But how about you in your history with this franchise?
Yeah, well, it was started in 1976. So yeah, it would have been a little too early for you, and I wouldn't quite understand it if I cracked it open back then. But yeah, it started off in 2000 AD, created by John Wagner and Carlos Esquerras. I might have messed up his name there, but apologies. But yeah, so John Wagner's like the main writer of Dredd. Although a lot of cool different British writers and artists came from 2000 AD and Dredd. I know Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Garth Ennis, Mark Millar, Brian Boland. A lot of great talent came, and so that's where I first kind of heard from them, because I were seeing them in in American comics, and they kept talking about coming from 2000 AD, and talking about Dredd. And back then, when I started reading comics in the 80s, I didn't really see there wasn't a way to actually get a hold of these British comic books back then. There wasn't the wonderful thing of the internet and Amazon, and being able to uh, you know check out those things during those times. You sort of had to rely on your local comic book shop for what was there. And so yeah, it was. I definitely have a blind spot for the comic book because I haven't read much of Dredd, but I've always been fascinated by the character.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like right there. Like, am I like a super deep, heavy comic book Dread nerd? No, but like when I discovered them much later on in my life, anyway, I did. A little bit when I had a little bit more money, I would buy the compendium or whatever, compilation, so you can kind of
Mhm.
read them all. And there's many different tales and things. So I will not claim to be any kind of a super big Judge Dredd nerd
Mhm.
comic book purist. It's not me, but I do remember when this movie came out and it made an impact, because I was already a Carl Urban fan anyway. And then famously, Stallone did this movie in the 90s, I believe. It was a
Yeah, I think that's where most people learned about Dredd.
right, right. It was a much more Hollywood, show his face. He wasn't going to do the helmet
Mhm.
thing and really commit to the character, but it was Sly Stallone in the
Mhm.
90s, so he could do whatever
Yeah.
he wanted. So that one was all right. I don't
Mhm.
love it. I don't
Yeah,
hate
that
it.
was during that time. Yeah, that was during the time when they did comic book adaptations. They played fast and loose
Right.
because they figured, the people that read comic books. There's such a small audience, we don't have to get it right. We can do our own thing. We can do it better. That was during that time. So yeah, I never actually saw that original one because yeah, I'd heard so many things about how it wasn't a good adaptation for Dredd, and I was a big action guy back then, so I kind of skipped it. So
Yeah,
unless someone tells me I need to see it, I don't think I will.
yeah, this is no different for me. I caught it on TV or whatever, and it was mildly
Hmm.
interesting. Although I gravitated to the other one, Demolition Man. I thought that was a little bit better. But the original Dread, I did not. I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah, and yeah, RoboCop is sort of like kind of it's kind of based or inspired by Dredd as well. The stoic, kind of almost robotic lawmaker, judge, jury, and executioner. And I think I read while kind of researching this movie that the original RoboCop helmet kind of resembled the Dredd helmet quite a bit during the production. So it was obviously kind of inspired by Dredd.
Yeah. I was gonna say, just the aesthetics of this version of Dread really worked for me. From as soon as I saw this, and I didn't see this in the theater, but I didn't see it too far after either. This is like one of my action movie phases that I did fall into it, and I'm so glad I did because it became such a good favorite, and it's one that I like to revisit periodically. I used to like to watch it like every year, but that kind of died down. And you go through phases like with these
Yeah.
things. But largely speaking, though, it works very well. And also the weapons on here. That there is just so much good gadget porn or tech, type
Mhm.
thing, like where it's the motorcycle he rides, or it's the gun,
Mhm.
or the helmet, or
Mhm.
the aesthetic, or the armor. It's just very well done.
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah,
gritty,
absolutely.
and it does it. I'm not saying that this adaptation is perfect, 100% to the comic book, because it's not. But when you compare it to the Sly Stallone one, it's like night and day. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, and
practically authentic to the thing.
yeah, absolutely. The character they nailed the character at least. The comic book from my understanding again neither I or Mike actually I think Mike's probably more of an expert since it sounds like he's read more than I have. But the comic books more kind of a satirical, and also it was created late 70s or mid 70s, made popular during the 80s, and that was sort of the Thatcher era of British culture, and there was a lot of dissatisfaction, from what I understand, with the ruling class at that time. There was talks of fascism and whatnot, which can probably set people cry out that today. But yeah, so the from that kind of that turmoil, they Judge Dredd kind of came out of that, sort of like the anti-hero. They
Hmm.
were kind of playing around with fascism and how the law is the law, and again the cops, these judges, they're not only just cops, they can immediately give you a death sentence if they so desire. So it's sort of law kind of out of control. And so yeah, that's sort of the way in what this character is, and in typical British fashion, they kind of did it in kind of a satirical way.
Hmm.
They set it in America,
Right.
and although it was written in England, and it's their skewed a vision of what Americana is. And so this is set in America as well, but a lot of the satirical nature of the comics been excised from it, which some people had a problem with. But like one of the creators of this thing, John Wagner's, was on set, and he was the consultant. And from what I understood, Garland, who's the writer of it,
Hmm.
he would give the script to John Wagner, and Wagner would fix the dialogue for Judge Dredd whenever he felt like it needed to be altered. And in fact, Alex Garland is one of our favorites of the channel. I know Mike and I are a huge fan of Civil War that he wrote. I've been a fan of him at the
So
very beginning before he even got into movies. I was a big fan of his books. I've was read the Beach, which was made into a movie as well.
yeah.
And yeah, so I think I've seen almost all of Garland's stuff, and this movie is him going into maybe bigger budget kind of action movie phase of his. And he didn't direct it, but it seems like I heard rumors that Urban was taking direction from him because Alex was on set during the whole time. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle at the end. We can maybe get into that maybe a little later.
This has a little
But
bit of drama. Yeah,
mhm,
just to kind of touch on Alex
mhm.
Garland real quick. Yeah, we are definitely de facto fans of this 20 Days Later, which I don't think we've covered yet, but we might
No, we haven't.
one day. But in the Beach for that matter too, we probably should cover. But Dredd is here today, and we definitely have Warfare. Well, excuse me, Civil War. I'm getting ahead of my horses here. And Men, as well as
Yeah, we did cover men. Yeah, Ex
Annihilation. I believe we
Machina.
did too.
Yeah,
Yep, and I
uh,
don't. I think
yeah,
we did
Annihilate.
Machina too, didn't we? Or no?
Yeah, we did that together
That's right.
with the
Yeah, yeah,
Annihilation, I believe.
yeah,
Sort of our Alex Garland combo.
yeah.
Yeah, so we've covered quite a bit of his stuff. Yeah,
We
he's
love him.
probably if he's not the top person that we've covered as far as his movies, he's definitely way up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we'll get into the controversy a little bit there too. But for now, getting into the main thing of it, that this part of the world is deadly, and it is dystopian, and it is everything, every square inch of action that you get. You start right away. Like they don't beat around the bush. I will say, in the comic books, there actually is a longer saga that follows Judge Dredd, and he's kind of like a chosen kind of type character. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
it gets really squirrely and outlandish too. But for the most part, you get a little bit, and you kind
Yeah.
of got a little bit of the back end story more on the Sly Stallone version than this one, because they actually kind
Yeah.
of talk about. They kind of go into the origins a little bit on the Sly Stallone one, like whereas this one they don't go into any of that. You're just here's the case, and then you kind of get
Yeah.
kind of sort of connective tissue on there could be a future bunch of movies like that, but they
Hmm.
they left it.
Yeah.
They didn't go
Yeah.
one way or another. Like they could have easily picked up
Yeah.
and done a sequel
Yeah.
or a prequel
Yeah.
for that
From
matter to this. It was of any franchise this would be begging for it, but fortunately maybe we're lucky it didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I understand that Alex Garland, he started kind of writing the script in 2006, and he did actually kind of go for a bigger storyline to begin with. He was going to cover the Judge Death saga, I guess, and it was much more bigger and expansive and got more into the lore of the judges, and it just kept getting kind of unwieldy and kind of too much to throw at an audience to start with, and so he had stripped it down. He tried another attempt at it at a different bigger storyline, and it again kind of got out of control. So he felt like you got to strip it down, give the basic story of the judge, and he was kind of envisioning this as a trilogy, and maybe the second movie getting more into his origins, and then the final big third movie would get into the Judge Death storyline. So if you're a big Dredd fan and know those storylines, you could probably inform us if that was a good route to go. But yeah, I think the doing a strip down, and this movie is only an hour and a half, and
Yeah,
on
but
this channel, you may be tired of me harping on the fact that I've been increasingly. I used to like really long movies because you get more of the good stuff, but I've been getting more, you know, now that my time's kind of getting more and more limited. I appreciate a good movie that gives you a good solid story in an hour and a half, gets in and gets out. And I've kind of stripped away a lot of those bloated TV series.
Hmm.
10 episodes, series used to be like 22 episodes. I couldn't even dream of doing a season of that.
It is
Now,
funny.
10 episodes are almost too much for me. Just give me a good solid movie
Oh,
and for a night, and I'm good.
yeah, I did want to kind of pick up because we actually have a live chat going because we're doing it live here, and I just wanted to pipe
Uh-huh.
in some of the commentary here was
Okay. Yeah.
about the Sly Stallone. We had the gaming forum, Raleigh. I believe he said Sly Stallone is goat. LOL. Demolition Man is classic. And Taco Bell is a luxury restaurant. I think he's doing quotes from the show, and he said that he appreciated Dennis Leary in that movie because he was hilarious. But so yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, this movie doesn't really have comedy. It's kind of
Hmm.
the opposite of that. It's very solid,
Hmm.
and there's a little bit of body horror in this too, and they do a wonderful effect with the slow mo, which is part of a plot device, I guess. Slows down if you take it. It's
Yeah.
addictive, and
Well,
then
this was a big I forgot about this. This was a one during the time when they were pushing 3D really big. Dredd was majorly into
yep,
3D.
yep,
They actually invented or crafted various cameras specifically for this movie for like I guess those slow-mo effects. And so yeah, sort of like those old 3D movies back in the 50s where they would stop for a moment and shove something at the camera so you could experience that. Yeah, I kind of got a little bit of that from this movie. If I was going to detract it just a little bit, there are those moments where maybe they linger a little bit too much on the effect, but again, it was supposed to be this big 3D extravaganza, and so
right.
if we had saw it in 3D, maybe we would be a little bit more overwhelmed by that effect. And in fact, I think one of the producers were saying that the movie probably didn't do as well because some of the theaters were only showing it in 3D, auditoriums instead of now if we do have a 3D, you have the probably in the standard auditoriums there's more showings than that because they know a lot of people don't like 3D. So if you came to the theater and all you could see was the 3D version, you might pick something else to watch or might
Right.
head on back home because if that kind of makes you sick or whatnot. So that could have had some of the effect
Well,
on the box office.
Well, I was going to say too with that 3D craze, I never really got into it. It surpassed me by the time I actually had money to spend on a television. It wasn't going to be
Hmm.
on that.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you do get to see this in full, good 4K quality, and you have a big enough TV or screen, which is just about everybody nowadays, it is
Got
that's the.
my I got my 4K
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me bring you up on the main camera here on the main thing so you can show that guy off. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Just recently I picked it up. That's I knew we were doing Cyberpunk month and thought we'd be covering this. It's a solid 4K. To give my little review of it. The I've kind of started upgrading my sound and it did sound quite well in this. And if you're a extra guy like me, you love the extras. Not much on this. You don't have a commentary, which I would have loved to have one from Alex Garland. That would have been awesome. Maybe Alex Garland and Carl Urban talking about the movie. That would have been awesome. But no, nothing there. There is six featurettes in there. One on the comic book, which was about 15 minutes, which was solid.
Oh,
There's sort of one on the special effects that was about 16 minutes, and then there were like a couple of minute ones for various things. So under an hour's worth of extras. So I wouldn't buy it just for the extras per se. But yeah, it's good. The picture quality is good. So yeah, if you wanted to get it for a solid presentation of the movie, then that's good. For extras, not so much.
Yeah, well, that's a shame, but not everyone
Yep.
could be. And this one was made for 45 million. I think it only grossed like
Mhm.
40. It didn't even gross that in the
Yeah, I
box
think it
office.
grossed like 41.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
not quite, not quite. I'm gonna crack open my boomer juice.
Oh yeah, and while you do that, I'll set the scene here. Basically, we see call in progress to this big 200 story, 75,000 people city block. This mega structure called Peachtree, and we find a rookie
Mhm.
character who's under evaluation, and who's evaluating her? None other than the infamous,
Anderson, yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
infamous Dredd. And it kind of goes from there, and you kind of they slowly peel their way in here, and you realize that this Dredd guy is he's not a nuanced kind of guy. He's like, all right, let's go
Mhm.
after it. And then you kind of go see this warfare, this absolute one man war practically
Mhm.
on these criminals. Anyway, and
Yep.
and then it kind of sets the scene up with them essentially scaling this thing to get to Mama,
Mhm.
because this is ruled by the Mama clan, and played by
Yep.
Lena Headley.
Lena
Does a
Headley. Yep.
perfect job. Who's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's sort of on par with her evil presence in Game of Thrones. So you can tell, yeah, a very much different kind of character, but has the solid grit of Cersei's from Game of Thrones. But yeah, yeah, she actually, I think I read where she kind of filmed it in between seasons of Game of Thrones.
that's cool.
I'd forgot that she'd been in it. But yeah, it was
She was.
nice to see her. Always gives a solid performance. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that yeah, so it's sort of like kind of a closed in sort of trying to get out of that big complex there. Sort of like a city within a city. They're the mega cities, I guess. And Yeah, it's kind of weird how certain storylines and movies kind of come out at the same time. There's a year before there was a movie, I gave you the link to it, The Raid, where
Mm.
it's an action movie where a guy is locked in with all these criminal elements. This cop is locked in this building, and he has to make his way up through the through the building to escape. And yeah, so yeah, that came out a year earlier, and
Right.
then so. When I when I originally watched this, I watched this movie, and then I watched the Dread, and I got a strange sense of deja vu because it's very similar storylines. And But yeah, they were pretty much filmed at the same time, so there's no like copying. Obviously, there was just sort of like a synchronistic energy where two movies come out relatively at the same time with similar plots. So yeah, and The Raid is another action-packed adrenaline
I'll
movie
have to.
that's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I guess Dread would be a combination of like this movie, The Raid, and Die Hard, but
Mhm.
with a good twist of body gore, because they're not afraid to show
Yep.
how brutal the world is, and that's kind of it's a very quick.
Especially in slow motion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, and it's just also like a quick skate through. These judges are judge, jury, and executioner. In case we didn't already mention it,
Yep.
but they are
Yep.
essentially, there is the typical law enforcement criminal justice system collapsed, and it's kind of funny how justice is metered out here, but just very good.
Yeah, and
But
even
well, go ahead.
yeah, even Judge Dredd's outfit, originally, even here and when it was originally created, had that kind of executioner kind of vibe. They
Right,
kind of created his helmet to be like a hood from like say the Middle Ages, with the executioner's hood and with the tapered down the eagle on the shoulder on the one
right.
shoulder, whereas in the comic book it's sticking out and pretty kind of gaudy, but that was sort of their nod towards America. And yeah, I guess with Eagles, there's kind of a fascist sort of leanings on that as well for the symbology. But but yeah, his outfits very 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 well constructed. The motorcycle wasn't quite. They had to kind of change the design of it because if they recreated the actual comic book one, it wouldn't you wouldn't be able to ride it. It wouldn't work properly.
Right, right. Well, obviously, cartoonish comic book
Yeah,
style is you can't translate everything, but for the most
yeah.
part, you would also mention they also had drones in here, and a little bit of a IT nerd hackery thing. They kind of hit all the bells and whistles for Cyberpunk, really. Like
Hmm.
it maybe not drones per se, but this sense of ever increasing surveillance. Like that kind of matches the overbearingness of the world that they live in. So, and all these characters play it very well. I don't think that there was a bad character, bad actor or actress that didn't show up. I don't know. I thought that he had pretty damn good quality characters, and it just again, this is like one that I like to return to periodically, that I just enjoy because there's just so many things that you can get into and out from it.
Yeah.
I think the CGI still holds up to this day. I don't think it looks dated.
Mhm.
Um,
No,
Everybody kind
yeah,
of has a level of seriousness in this world, and the world building is one of the things that I am attracted to
yeah.
in good cinema. And this one does it, even though you don't really spend too much time outside the building. You get enough understanding because you get that heavy monologue that Carl Urban gives, and perfect narration as you kind
Kind of
of
set things up. Yeah.
yeah, which is just perfect. I mean, it just sets the tone really, really well.
Yeah, very economic as far as time and getting the details in, and yeah, and the it does have quite a bit of CGI in it, but it works, and they don't rely on it like I said, the motorbike and even the lawgiver gun is a working gun that they designed with all the accoutrement with it that kind of switches mags. Uh,
Right.
it actually works. So and then like with the CGI with slow mo, there's always I like CGI when it has a purpose and a reason for it. Like he said that Alex said that the slow mo was kind of inspired by the like documentaries, like nature documentaries, where
Right.
things get slowed down, like when a shark attacks something, and you're not even looking at the viciousness or the violence of it anymore. You're just kind of awed by with slowed down with it, awed by the beauty of it all, with the water droplets and everything kind of moving in slow motion. And he was kind of fascinated by if you slow down violence far enough to where when a gun is piercing someone's face and blowing out a cheek, if you slow it down long enough, does it almost become almost beautiful in its execution, as opposed to it just being gory violence. And I think they kind of captured that. It was you're kind of marveling how they've captured that, and looking at the action of it and
Right.
all of that. And yeah, it's quite fascinating.
Yeah, I was gonna highlight the gaming forum who commented, who chatted while we were just talking there. The world building is awesome, and thank you for chatting. And I want to say thank you to the 5 people out there who are watching us live now.
Awesome.
But in any case, yeah, no, I agree. Oh, and the opposite thing too, the practical effects. I think as you were leaning into, also worked out very, very well for this, and it influenced other movies later on in the action genre, like John Wick, Mad Max Fury Road, in terms of like its commitment to practical action, where they could get away with it, with minimal exposition and going in because it didn't have a cape. It didn't quite tie into a larger cinematic universe, so it kind of flew under the radar, and audiences didn't quite catch it when it was on. But
Yeah, and weird connections to our previous movie we covered in our Cyberpunk Hardware, which was unofficially based off of a story from a 2000 AD comic book,
true.
which Dredd is definitely comes from 2080s comic. So there's that connection, and also a weird connection is the director of Hardware, Richard Stanley, is originally from South Africa, and they
Hmm.
filmed this movie in South Africa
Oh,
because
really?
I guess because it was cheaper to do it, and they got certain discounts from the government for for doing it there. So so oddly enough, it was filmed in South Africa, so it's kind of an interesting tie to our previous movie. And if you didn't check out Hardware, definitely check out our video last week on that. And definitely in the cyberpunk vein. I would hazard to guess if you like Dredd, you might actually like Hardware as well. Although
I
it is kind of tricky trying to track down that movie.
It is. I will say though, it does go hand in glove for that kind of. If you can take the brutality of Dread, you're going to be just fine with even more risque and over the top um, aspects of Hardware that were, they were brutal, but they weren't. They were kind of the brutality kind of aged a little bit, so they don't go quite full tilt into it per se. Like say Art the Clown and how they would do it. That would be a completely two different things. But anyway, it's still
You
worth
called
it.
his name.
Yeah, you kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
This is essentially an adventure. Like our we're kind of sort of seeing it from her eyes, her point of view. Um,
Anderson, yeah.
yeah, as she's going, and you kind of catch. I love the weapons that they used and how they did it. You kind of get this understanding that the Anderson character has these special gifts or talents, and that is why.
She's a mutant. She's a mutant. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, really, it
Yeah.
really is
Mhm.
kind of like a little bit more dystopian.
Mhm.
What was that? What was that X-Men crossover with Cyber or Cable? Excuse me, Cable and the
Yeah.
future
Yeah.
dystopian kind of thing. That kind of had a little bit of a cyberpunk
Mhm.
crossover, but
Yeah.
I think did Chris
Yeah.
did Chris Claremont do that one? I can't remember. I might be asking too
Yeah.
much on the
Mhm.
stretch here on the point, so I
Yeah, I think
apologize.
that was after him, but
Maybe.
yeah, so the but yeah, the comic book had lots more mutants and aliens in it, but they didn't quite have the budget for it. But yeah, Anderson is sort of like gives us the emotional story arc in that because Dredd is sort of the anti-hero.
Right.
In Urban's perfect for playing that. He does that perfectly in The Boys
Oh yeah,
as well. Sort of the anti-hero in that as well.
love it.
And I could almost see Carl Urban, if they wanted to reboot theatrical version of The Punisher, I could see him as the Punisher as well.
Oh, I
Perfect.
agree with you there. Go do it, please, Hollywood. Listen to Tom. Pay him some money.
Yeah. But I know they have a different Punisher on the smaller screen, but they may be locked in on that, so we might never see that. But
Right.
yeah, that would be my perfect casting for that. But yeah, so um, there's no sort of like emotional story arc for Dredd here. He's sort of he kind of changes the character evolution of him is sort of like uh, John Wagner, the creator of it, sort of said sort of glacier like. There's not much change in him, although by the end of it, he does have a little bit of a change of heart, at least. But yeah, I see the Dread character much like my beloved character Conan the Barbarian, in that there in the stories, Dread doesn't change, and much like Conan, doesn't change much within the story. A lot of the character development and interesting aspects of the story. So also often the other characters within it, like Anderson takes on the character development bit of it. In this, she starts off as a rookie, her first day on the job, basically. Basically her first day in the field, so
Right.
to speak, and she's being tested as her final test as whether or not she can handle it as a judge. So she starts off very kind of skittish and kind of not quite prepared for things, and by the end of it you see definitely a growth in her character. And so there's so yeah, all the kind of orbiting characters sort of have kind of chew up the scenery, although and gives it much of the color to it. But Dredd, and yeah, yeah, it doesn't overwhelm Dredd. He's even though he's stoic and
Right.
kind of short on words, his presence is ever present. And you, when he walks into a scene, your eyes are definitely drawn to him visually. And again, I would compare him like much like with Conan. He kind of takes over the scene whenever he's in it. You're constantly wanting to know what's Dredd going to do.
No, that
What kind of carnage is he going to create?
no, that's a good.
You
That's a
don't know. Yeah, and you don't know. And much like Conan, his he has a moral center, but you never know what he's gonna do. He may do something that you're really against, and he's definitely the anti-hero because he does stuff, and you go, well, I don't know if that's is that a good thing that he's doing there? And then, but then he follows it up with something else that maybe an action that's you're is well deserved, and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, Dredd. So yeah, there's sort of like that constant struggle between whether or not he's good or evil, and he's not really either. He's sort of very much in that gray area.
well, he's very much a response to his world. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to kind of be hard boiled, even more
Hmm.
so beyond the pale than a normal person. You kind of have to shut off that version of humanity. So it's funny how you have this dichotomy of her opposite of him, and you add on to that additive nature of her being able to read minds or read emotions and read minds. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like a metaphor on justice itself a little
Hmm.
bit,
Yeah.
because that's kind of the goal of every legal system is the impossible task of determining the truth. That's why you have
Hmm.
trials and evidence and witnesses. But
Yeah.
and there's a couple kind of again, you're kind of seeing this from her perspective. So there's at different points where she definitely, she's a rookie, obviously, so she doubts herself anyway.
Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
kind of
And
building that, but and she does kind of, you can kind of see her reaction to certain things, and then she also, funny enough, she can also not only read but kind of do things with that too, if she chooses to, which she kind of flips on the suspect of, like, this intimidating character that kind of kicks this kind of thing off that they drag along with them until he's no longer
yeah.
useful. um
Yeah. Yeah, and I was gonna also say she's also our eyes in this. She's the one that we're supposed to kind of be able to relate mostly to and see through her eyes, much like Batman has Robin, and Conan usually has a sidekick with him that you as the reader or you as the audience member can look through her eyes and see this larger than life character and kind of evaluate him like we would, maybe react to him as we would. So yeah, as Batman needs his Robin, and I never really thought about it, but Robin is sort of like him being a younger kid as a sidekick is perfect for a comic book, for a young reader, because that's the person that you're automatically going to relate to and be in those eyes. And Batman, much like Dredd, is that larger than life character, that you're kind of filtering through that other character. So yeah, I think uh, I, the actress Olivia Thirlby, she did a wonderful job as this character. And
mhm.
there's a it was made in 2012, and I have to say that if it was made a little bit later, there may have been a tendency to maybe up her character to make her maybe a little bit more overpowered, and
Mhm.
maybe make Judge Dredd kind of more goofy, maybe there was a time where male strong characters sort of kind of got the brakes kind of pumped on them. a little bit. So it kind of beefed up the female characters. This is before that time
Yeah,
when you could still have a super powered male character.
yeah, no, this works a perfect in balance between the two, and a little kind of a little nerd point, I guess. She's not wearing a helmet because she says that it interferes with her, and I love you. There's very few comedic spots, but I can't
Mhm.
remember the exact retort that Carl Urban said as Dredd was like, basically something like, "Oh, okay. I mean,
Well,
kid
his
brains."
response was he said, "Well, yeah, yeah, that helmet would interfere with that," but he goes, "Well, but a bullet would interfere with your life there,
Yeah, right, right, yeah,
a bullet to the head."
right. Yeah,
So, yeah.
this says so much right. Aside from the broken bones of the 95 Sly Stallone one, and maybe the 3D thing kind of went against it too because it was kind of gimmicky. And who knows, maybe people kind of came and saw and they were expecting something. This was also in the very very beginning, the rise of the Marvel empire. So this kind of being maybe if it would have come out a couple of years before or maybe a couple of years after, it could be argued that it could have easily got a lot more money. But
Yeah, it feels like a movie from a different age almost. The the
right,
quality of it is right up there, but yeah,
sure,
it's of a time where movies were a little bit more grittier and, like you said, more violent. Even though it's aiming towards a mass audience, it's understanding that the audience shouldn't be squeamish about things. It's very hard and in your face, and it
yep,
doesn't pull any punches,
nope,
much like Judge Dredd wouldn't pull any punches. So yeah, and I was going to point out that I read this. I didn't notice it in the movie, but it's definitely there. With Anderson having the psychic powers, there's a scene where she's sort of they've captured one of the gangsters, mob guys, and
right,
there's sort of she goes into his mind to find out what he knows, because they're in lockdown because um the mama doesn't want him to get out and for them to interrogate this guy because he knows something that she doesn't want to get out there. And so Anderson goes into his head, and they sort of have this kind of fight in between each other. And yeah, it looks like he may be getting one over on her, and she overcomes him. But there's a key moment in that, and it the that's postulated that she kind of inserts this idea into his mind because at one point in it he's pointing her gun at
mm-hmm,
her, and he shoots her. So and then later on in the movie, much to his his demise, he does do that. So it's sort of speculated that that scene is where she kind of implants that idea in his head, so that if anytime he ever overtakes her and gets the gun, she's already got that planted in his head for him to use that gun on her. To in And only the lawgiver himself is able to use it. Although now that I think about it, he's pointing that gun at her head, and Judge Dredd lets them go away. So why did he? Because he would know that that gun couldn't be used. I guess with it pointed straight at her head, if he shot it, it would blow her head up too. So in effect, it would kill them both. So I can see. Okay, I can see where that's. He would let her get away with that. But yeah,
yeah, I
to
don't
work
know.
that out in my head. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
I don't know that. Well, there's a lot of cool things, and that's kind of like what a good nerd kind of flick does is it draws you in, and you kind of tend to wonder, and you only see what you get, right? So it's very muscular. It
Mhm.
gets in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
If you like cinema, if you like anti-heroes, and if anything else, this movie ages perfectly. I mean, some of that is the world that we're living in. That we kind of got a little bit of. You could make an argument for more militarized police. You could make an argument for a surveillance state. And you could even make make a commentary on the breakdown of society in certain ways. But that was that. What do you expect? We had our own dystopian kind of real world thing called COVID that we all lived through. That hopefully we won't ever have to go back to. But yeah, no.
Which in fact, actually, they were trying to do do another sequel to Dredd, or maybe a television series, and they were on track for that. And then COVID hit, and it put the stops on a lot of that. So yeah, COVID may have stopped a second Dredd movie at that time.
Yeah, I say this one though is worth it. I think we're kind of coming up on the end, and we got some links to share too, so we'll cover those here.
Oh,
a moment.
couple more things we
Please.
teased it, but yeah, the building that they're in is Peachtree, and that was the name of the I think the restaurant that Alex Garland and John Wagner, the creator of Dredd, first met at. So that was sort of like a nod to that. And I will say, like,
Cool.
I think the names of the other big multi buildings in there are named after different creators of that had previously worked on Dredd. And if you look at the graffiti, especially with your 4K version of it, there's a lot of inside jokes or little Easter eggs, so to speak, in that. So yeah, if you're into those things, there's definitely stuff to look out for in there. Also, this is kind of argued that this may be Alex Garland first directed movie because Pete Travis is the director.
Yep.
Although on Alex was on set during the whole shoot of it, and Carl Urban for direction would go to Alex as opposed to Pete Travis to get his direction. And then when it went into the editing phase, Travis was kind of pushed out of the room, so to speak, and Alex Garland kind of took over and crafted the movie that you see now. Although there was talks where I guess Alex was going to try to get a co-directing credit for this since he put so much into it. Although everything kind of got smoothed over towards the end, and Pete Travis and Alex Garland put out a joint release saying that this was sort of they kind of agreed to this all beforehand, and it was a bit of an unorthodox way of doing things, but this was all planned. But yeah, that's there might have not been there might have been little arguments and whatnot, and Pete Travis did not promote this movie after it came out, so there seemed to be a little sour grapes. But again, this is I know Alex Garland was wanting to move into directing, and he did his next movie, Ex Machina, was written and directed by him masterfully. That's an excellent movie, and the one of the actors in this movie became the star of that one. The little nerd guy with the the eyes that kind of zoom in.
I'll just I'll just kind of give the audience my an inkling as to where I might land. I'll just say this, and I don't mean this in a mean way. Alex Garland, we're still talking about. We're not talking about Pete Travis, so I'll leave it there. So I definitely fall into the fan camp of Alex Garland, but regardless, I'm glad that
he's
Pete
definitely
Travis got to have his say
great
too.
guy.
But yeah, no, Alex Garland really knows what he's doing, and it shows. And this is just one more reason to like this thing. And
absolutely,
it works for me. I know it worked for you. Now I know we had some other links here that you had thrown over.
Yeah, one of the things that drew my attention early on to to Judge Dredd is Anthrax back in the I think it's the 80s did the song "I Am the Law," which was definitely about Judge Dredd. And yeah, being the nerd that I am, I've always been a nerd. I know that's a surprise, but I wasn't a big jock back in the day. But yeah, when this album, I've always been pretty much into metal, and when Anthrax's album came out, and they had a song based on Judge Dredd, I went ape shit over that stuff. So yeah, if you're a metalhead and like Judge Dredd, and for some reason missed out on this track. We can't play it here because we'd get the copyright struck to hell. But
Gotcha.
but yeah, definitely check that out if you're big into it. And it's kind of curious that there's been two Judge Dredd movies and neither one used the song in it.
Yep.
Oh, and speaking of music, uh, during the when they cut to the hacker nerd guy in the movie,
yeah.
there's a song kept playing kind of low during his scenes, and that song is Matt Berry's song "Snuffbox" from the show Snuffbox. And
Huh.
Matt Berry, you may know from the TV version of What We Do in the Shadows, among other things. He's
Oh,
one of my favorite actors and singers
that's
actually.
great.
So yeah, I didn't put the link for his song, but definitely check that out. Matt Berry's Snuffbox.
Absolutely. Then you had also
And
found this guy.
yeah, yeah, the one of the producers of Dread kind of pointed this out. This is a fan made movie. This is has like I don't know if it has Judge Death in it, but it has the Dark Judges in it storyline. So yeah, if you watch Dread and want to have a little bit more Judge Dredd universe sort of storyline going on in it. Definitely check that out. It's fan made, so you know it's been made with love for the for it. Whether or not it's good or not, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch it. And then there's one other fan made movie. This is live action called
Okay.
Judge Minty. It I kind of skimmed through it too. It looks good. I haven't watched it, but it looks for being probably a shoestring budget, it actually looks pretty decent
No,
as
it
far as
does.
the action and the look of it. They actually kind of built out the eagle shoulder pad that makes me think, well, they could have probably did that in the movie. It looks pretty decent.
Absolutely, yeah. And these are included in our show notes in the description down below. And I think
hmm
you had
I've
another.
already we already mentioned that. Oh yeah, yeah. Since I'm the physical media guy, I have to bring this to your attention. I meant to do it last week, but yeah, time got away from me and I forgot to do it. But Barnes and Nobles and Criterion always have a 50% off twice a year. This is our summer one. They do another one during the winter during Christmas. But yeah, you can get I think it's goes through not the end of July, but close. I think it's like the 27th of July, maybe 20 something. But yeah, I haven't put my order in yet, but there's quite a few. There's a handful of movies that I'm definitely gonna
Oh
put in
wow.
an order from when my next paycheck comes in. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah, so yeah, normally Criterion is a little bit overpriced, my opinion, but but yeah, the with 50% off, that makes them between just the regular movies are between like the 4Ks are like 25 to 30 bucks, which puts it in the price range of your average big release of a 4K. So, you know, 4Ks usually run about 30, so 25 is actually a little bit of a deal. And Amazon always price matches, so if you have your Prime and all that, you could do it off of Amazon as well. For the most part, you might want to compare. Sometimes Amazon doesn't automatically do the discounts to make sure that they're discounted. But I've been Barnes and Nobles have really done a lot of things for the customers that seem to be a little bit above and beyond what Amazon's been doing. So you know, if you could show Barnes and Noble some love, definitely do that.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree, and I'll probably snag a couple here off that guy. And I think that's. You have anything else to add or say before we wrap up, or hit the finish button?
No, I think but yeah, if you've been enjoying this, we do have a lot of back videos. Definitely, we've covered a lot of sci-fi stuff, which just really falls in the category. But we also have covered a lot of horror stuff, comic book stuff, fantasy. We haven't done fantasy in a long while. We may have to dip back to that sometime soon. But yeah, definitely check out our back catalog. We've got plenty of videos, so definitely check them out. If you go back too far back, you might start seeing our rough edges. We've kind of smoothed off a lot of those,
Yeah,
but some of those have been kind of interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, and we have some more in store for you this summer as we go roll
Mhm.
forward here. But in the meantime, we will. You can always find us here at home base, YouTube at First
Mhm.
Last Nerdom, as well as Tom had mentioned we are on Reddit. Go,
Mhm.
you can find us there.
Yeah. Oh, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, one other thing. Yeah, we've been doing kind of themed months, but we I think our next month is going to be kind of a more of a grab bag. Like Mike said, we might tackle Superman if it's in the cards. Also, I kind of teased that I would talk about the shorts. The reason why last week I didn't do a short is all to do with Diamond. My local comic book shop has been getting their Marvel and a lot of their titles through Diamond, and Diamond as of last week I believe has stopped distributing Marvel and some other titles. So the one that I was most likely going to do as a top pick last week, I didn't get. And I had promised myself I would do like physical comic books for the review because I like having an actual comic book in my hand and I kind of do it the DIY with my phone and comic book and kind of a quick and dirty sort of review. And wasn't able to do it last week, and I don't think I'll be able to do it this week as well. So, but hopefully they'll get that straightened out, and I can get back to my picks of the week as far as comics. I was kind of tossing around the idea of maybe doing it for maybe a movie or a physical movie or a book or something, but nothing kind of jumped out at me. So I apologize that there's kind of a pause, a hiatus on my picks. But yeah, as soon as so I didn't want to. I did get a couple of physical comic books last week, but I didn't think they were really good enough to be picks of the week. So yeah, that's why I didn't do that.
all good.
But yeah, hopefully they'll get that figured out.
Well, we're grateful when you can. And for that
Hmm.
matter, you should look for more upcoming changes on our thing, a relaunch of our website. I've been saying that for years. But more importantly, more on the shorts part, to like where we can get reach out more of an audience because I've been playing second string, in second tier, third string, clutch guy, and I've been able to see like it is really good growth when you can do the shorts thing. But nevertheless, you can find us on Reddit, as Tom alluded to before. More importantly, though, I would want to steer you to our presence on X, whether it's Tom as the again same at the
Yep.
first the last nerdom, or me as ApeIt_Ink. But more importantly, we're out there and we would love to see and hear more from you, the fan. I want to thank the small audience that gathered. I think we got, according to the counter, there's 7 folks watching, so thank you, and 4 likes. So we
Hmm.
really do appreciate the audience and watching us do this every
Absolutely.
week. Um, this has been a lot
Yeah,
of
and
fun.
yeah, it's great that you're there. You're much appreciated. Mike and I would probably still be doing it if it was just us talking amongst ourselves, but it's much better with the crowd.
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's a lot more fun, and I just went up to 8.
Hmm.
So, but as we are, we're about an hour and 3 over. But that's okay. Like then we go for about an hour or so. But this one is just such an easy recommend to go check out Judge Dredd. It might even spark you wanting to see something else from Alex Garland. That's always good. Or even to crack open a 2000 AD compendium that's out there. So I know those can kind of get pricey, so you kind of got to shop around for them sometimes. But I think that they're not
Yeah,
like
definitely.
super out of print or anything crazy like that. I think they're fine. You can pretty much
Mhm.
find them when you want to. But I think
Yep.
we're
Yeah.
rolling up here to the caboose here.
Hmm. Yep.
Anything?
And we're wrapping up the Cyberpunk month.
Yes, we are.
Again, very successful. I really enjoyed it. Although we're not saying goodbye to Cyberpunk, I'm sure this since we Mike and I both enjoyed it quite a bit. This may be a returning month. Maybe next year we'll tackle a group of more Cyberpunk movies. I know there's a lot out there. There was one that almost got in that missed the cutoff, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. And then like I said, we may do this again next year, so if you have a suggestion, throw it in our comments.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see that on the screen there, Tom, but we
Yeah.
just got a
Yep,
vote
he's voting for.
from an audience member here that said I
Hmm.
vote for fantasy from the gaming forum. So
Okay. Yeah, maybe we
don't
could do a month's worth of fantasy.
I would love to do that. Yeah. And that is Tom's Bellywick. So
Hmm.
it has been a minute. So thank you, Gaming Forum,
Hmm.
for that suggestion. We will definitely put that in the ballot box and pull it back out and have a talk here after we get offline. But with that, I think we're at the end, my friend.
Yep, I think so.
All right. Well, thank you again, Tom. I appreciate it. And I've been Mike.
None, Tom. And again, we are the law.
We